A big hello and a very warm welcome to Brand Equity with me, Sonali Krishna. The first 6 months of 2015 for JWT India has been a roller coaster ride. It all began with the change in guard with its long-serving CEO, Corbin Harris, being given a strategic global role and old hand Tarun Rai being brought in for the top job at the agency. JWT globally too saw changes galore with a new CEO in Gustavo Martinez and a new Chief Creative Officer who is Matt Eastwood. 100 days in office and all eyes are on one man, that's Tarun Rai, on how he plans to change the way the agency does business and, of course, what the creative fate of this agency will be, given the fact that this agency has always been jinxed when it comes to retaining its top creative talent. Well, Tarun Rai, the man from whom a lot is expected right now, is here with me in the studio, and this is his first ever interview as CEO. And I'm all set to shoot my questions to determine what the stars foretell for this agency. Thank you so much for joining us, Tarun Rai. Truly a pleasure having you on Brand Equity.
Happy to be here.
So tell me, now that you've taken stock of the agency, you have 3 months to settle in, to understand where JWT is as an agency within, the Indian landscape, where it stands, the quality of work, all of that. Now that you've taken stock, I'd like you to, critique the agency in terms of where it stands today. And now that you've come on board as the top boss, what is your plan to take it forward?
I'll tell you what my take of the agency is. As I say, the first impressions, which are very important. You are objective only for the first 3 to 6 months. And I think, therefore, to my mind, it's a great period. What I see, and I said, this is the change that I saw between when I left and when I've joined back. What I see is a formidable group. And when I say formidable group, it's not just the agency, but also specialist skills that we have within the group.
Absolutely.
I see that the revenue contribution has already changed. This year, 40% of our revenues are going to come from our non-traditional advertising.
That's
already
even
40%.
Globally.
Even globally. Right? But this was not the case 7 years ago when I left the agency. So to my mind, in this period, we have actually seen the change in revenue.
Sure.
What I also see is that JWT is now at the forefront of winning all the creative awards of the country. This year, JWT is the most awarded agency of the country. Not the case when I left 7 years ago. JWT's one campaign, which is Nike's Make Every Yard Count, is across the JWT network, 100 offices all over the world, is the most awarded campaign. So we are now the poster boys of creativity. That's a good sign. You're laughing, but that's true.
Okay.
Right. So to my mind, we are poised for great things as I develop our strategy for the future.
Tarun, you sound like a young boy in love, the honeymoon phase where everything is great and rosy.
It is good to be a young boy in love.
Right. But it is the honeymoon phase.
It is, I agree.
So, just to give you, a sense of what you just said, right? And in your mind, you're saying that JWT is the poster boy of creativity. And I have to agree with you. Over the last several years, when we go to Cannes and we go for the Cannes Lions, right? JWT definitely is an agency that comes back with, one of the more number of lions as opposed to other agencies. However, having said that, JWT, unfortunately, because of its mammoth size and scale, right, and the fact that it has had, for some strange reason, that all that creativity that it churns out, the focused channelization has not happened. You seem to have a problem in your reputation. So in terms of perception, although we see these sparks of creativity from JWT consistently, the problem is, if you look at what JWT stands for, it's a factory of sorts that churns out campaign after campaign just because that size is just so intimidating. Sadly for JWT, there seems to be a perception problem, and it has only gained momentum over several years, and this needs to somehow be corrected. A, are you in agreement with me in with the fact that JWT has a perception problem, and B, what are you doing to correct that?
No, A, I agree, right? And it's I can't wish away that there is a perception issue, but to my mind, fixing the reality is paramount. Fixing the perception will follow. I'm the first one to admit that we never had a reputation of being in terms of, just at the cutting edge of creativity.
Exactly.
Right? We never did. In 3 years, last 3 or 4 years, we have at least come to a stage where we are winning furiously and we are beating all agencies hands down, not just at the Indian awards shows, but at the international awards shows. That has changed. That is going to change perception. But I agree with you. Does that mean that the job is done? No, the job is not done at all. Which is why I'm saying it's not just raising the bar, it's actually raising an entire top band of work to do much better work on all the clients and all the brands that we work in.
Okay.
So unfinished business, we are committed to it.
So let me come to, the $64 million question. JWT has always had a problem retaining its top creative talent. It's really a problem. I mean, so many experiments have been done, but alas, that period, it's great in the beginning and then it's all, crash, boom, bang.
Yes.
So we're hoping, we first want to know your view. What's your view? For instance, Calvin Harris, the man who had your job, the man whose job you've taken, was of the opinion that despite several experiments in getting a chief creative officer, he was of the opinion that, JWT is just too large for one creative face, one CCO to handle the entire operation. It's too mammoth an operation. When I spoke to Gustavo, he was like, we definitely need a creative face, but I'm going to allow, Tarun to come and gauge the situation and give him the liberty and freedom to A, choose his partner, B, think if it's necessary. So now my question to you, do you think you need a creative face on top?
I truly believe that if you can have a CEO running such a big ship, you can have a CCO doing the same job.
Sure.
I need a partner, and I refuse to believe that in this big wide world, there is nobody who can do the job. So to me, I like the model of having one CEO with one partner, which is a CCO, running the show. If Gustavo can do it with Matt, surely, and he can run 100 offices, the world,
offices,
surely I can find somebody.
Yeah.
If my predecessor could not find the ideal person, to my mind, I'm not going to let that dishearten me. So I am looking, and very soon I hope I'm going to have somebody by my side as the CCO for the JWT group.
Who is this young man or woman that you're considering?
There will be a few, and we are looking at people not just in India, but also internationally.
Oh, so you might consider somebody of international stature to come in?
I will consider everyone.
Okay, so do you have a short list?
It's developing.
Okay.
It's developing.
Okay.
All I can say is that within the next 180 days, we will have a CCO.
Okay, well, that's a commitment on the show.
That's a commitment.
Yeah. But tell me, when you're looking at recruiting a person to, be at the creative helm of JWT, are you considering internal candidates?
I want a partner who can do the job. If we get the partner externally, from India, from the group, from the world, from within, that's what I'm saying. 180 days and we will have my partner, the CCO.
Okay. Are you considering Senthil?
I'm saying between Senthil and Tisa, they are the two leads internally. So yes.
They're both in the running.
They're both candidates, yes.
How do you think an external, assuming that you decide that you bring somebody from outside because you think they're better suited for the job, how do you think your internal talent will react to it? Especially people like Senthil and Tista who are of a certain level.
It will depend on the candidate and depend on the candidate's
I only
stature.
ask you this question because of the history of JWT.
I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. To me, history is important, but I think it's more, and I agree that, in the last 5-6 years, we have had a series of creative heads who have kind of
calamities, one would call it.
Not hacked it for one reason or the other.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, this is the plan that I have.
Okay.
And I'm not even saying it's a long-term plan, if and but. I'm saying 180 days, and that's within 180 days, we should have a CCO. And I'm very clear that there's no decision which comes with zero reaction from people. There may be, but I'm saying, so what? I'm saying it's if you want the right person, well, and there are some casualties on the way, well, so be it.
I want to talk to you about growth. And I think growth will be one of your biggest challenge, apart from, of course, ensuring that your creative face remains there for some time, because that's been the challenge of the previous CEO. So growth will be a big challenge. How are you going to, these have also been bad times for the agency business and bad times for GWT, which has been one of the most profitable, agencies in India. But of course, slowing down now, bad phases, numbers not really adding up. So what's your plan to, refuel that growth?
Firstly, situation is not as bad as you're making it out to be.
You are such a positive man. I feel I'm sitting in front of Shri Ravi Shankar.
But it's good to be positive, isn't it? It's very good to be positive. But really, what you're saying is absolutely right. To me, growth is the imperative. What Gustavo keeps saying is growth, growth, growth. The mandate that I have taken for myself is aggressive, profitable growth. That's what I want to deliver.
How are you going to do that?
So three things. All right. First, and very importantly, new business from existing clients.
Okay.
Second, new business from new clients. Okay. And the third is acquisitions. I can explain new business from existing clients because the other two is the easier one. Again, as I said, the advantage that I have of being outside, as a client, I observed a couple of things. As a client and as well as a media owner. As a client, I was dealing with my creative agency, and my teams are also dealing with some 3 or 4 other partners who are not part of the creative agency.
Yep.
So there were leaks from the system, which the traditional agency was not even getting. They were stuck on their scope of work and they were getting their fee. But we were doing, as a client, more than 50% of the work with other partners who are not in any way linked to the agency. So that was a huge leak that I observed. The other thing I noticed was that as a media owner, I was working directly with clients. I was creating content for them. And again, there was no role for the agency. So which is why when I come back, I say, it's not that the clients are not spending, but they are looking for somebody to raise their hand and say, okay, you know what? I will lead and deliver to you the holistic solution that you're looking for to solve your business problem. And I will deliver it for you. And I will deliver it through my group companies. Or if my group doesn't have those specialized skills, I'll get it from outside, but I will deliver it for you.
Yeah, but Tarun, you have a larger problem at hand. While this is great, right? In the last few years, as you probably very well know, a lot of your core traditional business has also been split, right? For example, case in point being Airtel, case in point being Pepsi, so on and so forth. And, many clients are looking to now, really put pressure on their agencies and, try and make them feel insecure at all points in time because infidelity is the road ahead. So, JWT has actually felt this kind of pressure in the past. So how are you going to ensure that, first, before you get into, being this bandmaster of sorts, leading all kinds of agencies and making this wonderful sound and symphony, how are you going to ensure that your primary core traditional business first remains with you?
But, to my mind, we have to break this mindset of traditional versus non-traditional. To me, the problem is that we keep thinking, as what you were suggesting, first protect your traditional, then you go after something else. I'm saying 40% of our revenues is coming from non-traditional. If the clients keep us on our toes, that's a good thing. And despite that, I'm saying they are spending hell of a lot, and I think they need an agency lead, somebody, like you said, the bandmaster. Fine, not a very complimentary way of putting it, but I'm happy, but you get the picture, to keep all the various communication channels at one place.
You keep harping on this 40% right now is non-traditional. I know even globally that's your figure. But I have a, fundamental basic query. When you get, let's say 40% of your revenue is now non-traditional, 60% traditional. Let's not forget, and correct me if I'm wrong, aren't the margins from traditional still better than non-traditional?
On average?
On average.
On an average, yes, they are.
Isn't it? I know it's not just JWT. Everybody is looking to increase their non-traditional pie, okay? So my question to you is, with your traditional business size shrinking and non-traditional catching up, I'm pretty sure it'll soon enough it'll become 50-50. Isn't that a bit of a concern? Because your margins are going down.
But that's okay. I'm saying that's the reality of today. When you venture out into new areas where the margins are not what they used to be, well, you have to recalibrate your business model and you have to recalibrate your expectation. That's okay. We were on the 15% agency commission model when I joined.
Yeah.
Today we are on fee. Well, what happened? We have still managed to predict our margins. There are some upsides to the commission system. There are some downsides to it. It's just a question of how quickly you recalibrate your models. And to my mind, I am focused on growth. And to me, if you are getting strong double-digit growth year on year, believe you me, margins, profitability, everything will fall into place.
Are you saying that JWT has witnessed in the last few years, double-digit growth, and going forward?
I am talking about going forward.
Okay.
Right, I am talking about not just double-digit, I am talking about strong double-digit growth.
So are you saying 15, 16, we'll see double-digit growth from JWT?
I am hoping with a little bit of luck, in the next 4 to 5 years, we should be able to double our revenues of JWT South Asia Group.
Okay.
I hope Gustavo is not watching this interview.
I'm sending him a clip. Last question for you. Are you considering Ramki?
I know this has floated from somewhere. Ramki and I are not in touch.
So are you saying that you're not at all, he's not in the consideration list as of now?
As of now, no.
But tomorrow he might be.
Who knows?
On that note, thank you so much, Tarun Rai. This was truly a pleasure. And all the very best, taking JWT to where you envision it.
Thank you very much. Enjoyed being here.